Hey Caleb, it's February 8th. So this last Wednesday was Ron's birthday, and it got me thinking about how introspective we get around arbitrary dates like birthdays and New Year's. And since I've seen so many lists on Facebook lately, like top 20 this or best 5 that, I thought I'd create a list of birthday traditions. But then I got thinking, what is it I like about lists so much? I find myself clicking on an inordinately large number of these lists. So instead, I decided to make a list of why we like lists so much. A meta list, if you will. This video is the ultimate, definitive top 10 reasons why we love top 10 lists so much. Number 10, we know what we're in for. It promises a topic and a definitive ending. We can tell approximately how long it's going to take based on if it's a list of 5 things or a list of 50 things. Number 9, we know it was well planned. Well, at least a list gives it the illusion of being well thought out and maybe even well researched. I mean, people are making definitive value statements about things, so we assume they know at least a little bit about what they're talking about. The irony is, most of the lists on the internet are made up either on the spot or after a wee bit of research from our good friend Google. Number 8, they're visually interesting. While we scroll through almost endless amounts of data, numbered lists or even bulleted lists stand out. They catch our eye. Sometimes even just the Arabic numerals, like number 10, stand out among all the text. Number 7, we have short attention spans. Most lists are compiled of short, bite-sized pieces of information since we have short attention. Hey look, something shiny. Number 6, lists bring order to chaos. We're attracted to lists because we live in an era of overstimulation, especially in terms of information. Since we're sifting through so much information, lists are a nice way to help us make sense of it. Number 5, they make us instant experts. After you see this short list, you will know everything there is to know about why we love lists. While we know this isn't really true, it's true enough to fool most of our friends in general conversations. Lists give us the perception of being knowledgeable with minimal effort. Number 4, enjoying lists is self-reinforcing. We recall with pleasure that we were able to complete a task, even if it's just reading an article, instead of just leaving it undone. And in turn, it makes us more likely to click on lists again. So the more lists you read and enjoy, the more lists you'll click on. In fact, this very video is one more piece of reinforcement of why you love lists. Number 3, they appeal to our general tendency to categorize things. All the mental heavy lifting of conceptualization and categorization and analysis is completed well in advance of our actual consumption. There's little that our brains crave more than effortlessly acquiring data. I mean, how many of us have dreamed of being able to literally plug into the matrix and being able to learn anything instantaneously? So lists are kind of like a proto-matrix. Number 2, lists fight against the paradox of choice. The paradox of choice is a phenomenon that the more information and options we have, the worse we feel. This is funny because we often think we want more choices and options. But does it really help to have 50 different types of toilet paper at the grocery store? If you don't believe this is true, it's actually one of the #1 complaints I hear about Android phones versus iPhones. With an iPhone, you just have to decide, do you want the latest model and how much storage do you want? That's it. But just for the record, if anyone watching this video is avoiding Android for that reason, I'll gladly give you a list of the top 3 Android phones for your preferences. So anyway, lists help us to limit all the data that is out there. So we only have to know the top 10 things in a category that probably has gajillions of items. Which brings me to my final point, the #1 reason why we love top 10 lists so much. Number 1, infinity is hard. We use lists to make infinity comprehensible. How do we feel when looking at the sky or stars or the ocean or mountains even? We don't have enough words to describe what we see. Nevertheless, people never stop describing these things. People in love are in the same position. They experience a deficiency of language, a lack of words to describe what they're feeling. But do people who love each other ever stop trying to tell them about it? No, they create lists. Your eyes are so beautiful. Your mouth is like this. Your collarbones are like this. So lists try to help us wrap our heads around something that is too big for us to grasp. And that's just fine as long as we realize that lists are really the fast food of information. A diet of lists is necessarily limited by content and nuance, and it is unlikely to contain the nutritional value of a more in-depth analysis, the type that you'd find in articles that rely on paragraphs rather than bullet points. So enjoy a few lists, Caleb, but throw in some substance occasionally too. Have a great week, and I'll see you Wednesday.